You don't lack confidence. You lack discipline. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build under pressure. If you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll stay weak forever. This week can either change how you see yourself or prove you're still avoiding the work. Let's get one thing straight. Confidence doesn't come from motivation, compliments, or fake positivity. It comes from what you do when no one is watching. Real confidence is earned in silence, through habits that force you to stand taller, speak clearer, and stop doubting yourself. Most people want confidence without discomfort. That's why they never get it. What I'm about to share isn't trendy, soft, or comfortable. These are hard, quiet habits that rewire how you see yourself in days, not years. If you apply them with consistency and honesty, your posture will change, your voice will change, and the way people respond to you will change. This isn't theory, this is execution. See, the greatest betrayal most people experience in life doesn't come from others, it comes quietly, repeatedly from within. It happens every time you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow comes, and you don't. It happens when you promise yourself discipline, growth, change, and then negotiate your way out of it. And little by little, something inside you begins to weaken. Not your talent, not your intelligence, your self-trust. And here's the hard truth. Confidence is nothing more than self-trust made visible. When you were young, you trusted yourself. If you said you'd do something, you did it. You didn't overthink it, you didn't debate it, you acted. But somewhere along the road, comfort taught you to break agreements with yourself, and every broken promise sent a message to your soul, I can't rely on me. Now listen closely. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of the promises you keep. A man or woman who cannot keep a promise to themselves will never feel solid. They will always feel slightly unstable, like they're standing on soft ground. They'll look confident on the outside, but inside they're uncertain, second-guessing, searching for validation. Why? Because they've taught their mind that their own word means nothing. And the mind believes what you prove, not what you say. You can read every book, watch every video, repeat every affirmation, but if your daily behavior contradicts your words, your confidence will never grow. Confidence is not built in grand gestures. It is built in small, boring, consistent acts of integrity. I am talking about waking up when you said you would, finishing what you started, doing the workout even when no one sees it, turning off the distraction when you promised focus. Small things, quiet things, invisible things. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, something happens deep inside. A voice says, I can trust you. And that voice grows stronger, calmer, steadier. And one day you notice you're standing differently, speaking differently, making decisions without hesitation. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Most people are waiting for confidence to arrive before they act. That's backwards. Confidence follows action. It always has. There was a time when a person's word was their bond. They didn't need motivation. They didn't need reminders. Their word was enough. And that integrity gave them weight, presence, authority. When they spoke, people listened, not because they were loud, but because they were solid. You don't need to promise yourself the world. In fact, stop doing that. Big promises you can't keep destroy confidence faster than silence. Instead, make promises so small they feel almost insignificant. And then keep them like your life depends on it. Because it does. Promise to read 1 page. Promise to walk 10 minutes. Promise to speak up once when fear says, stay quiet. And then do it. Every time. Do you know what happens when you keep 100 small promises? You become dangerous. In the best way, you become someone who doesn't need hype. Someone who doesn't seek approval. Someone who knows. And knowing is confidence. The world doesn't respect potential. It respects reliability. And before the world will trust you, you must trust you. So tonight, when the day is over, ask yourself one question. Did I keep my word to myself today? If the answer is yes, even once, you're rebuilding something sacred. If the answer is no, don't feel shame. Feel clarity and decide differently tomorrow. Because the moment you treat your own promises as sacred, You step into a different version of yourself, one that walks with certainty, one that doesn't beg for belief, one that has already earned it. Most people don't realize it, but insecurity announces itself long before a word is spoken. It shows up in rushed steps, in restless hands, in a body that can't stay still long enough to believe it belongs where it stands. Watch people carefully. The ones who lack confidence move as if they're apologizing for existing. They hurry through hallways. They sway when they talk. They fill every silence with noise, not because they're busy, but because they're uneasy, because deep down they're trying to escape judgment before it arrives. And here is the quiet truth. How you move is how you think. When your body rushes, your mind rushes. When your body fidgets, your mind doubts. And when your body is uncontrolled, your presence is diluted. You may have good ideas, strong values, even great intentions, but none of it lands because your body is telling a different story. Confidence begins when you stop running. Think about the most grounded person you've ever encountered. They didn't move fast. They didn't interrupt. They didn't scramble for attention. They walked with pace. They stood with weight. When they spoke, the room leaned in, not because they were loud, but because they were still. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is certainty. When you slow your walk, you tell the world, I'm not afraid of time. When you stand still while you speak, you tell the world, I don't need approval to finish my thought. And more importantly, you tell yourself those things. You see, the body is always listening. It believes what you demonstrate. If you rush, it assumes danger. If you fidget, it assumes fear. But when you move with intention, slow steps, planted feet, calm breath, the nervous system receives a new message. I am safe. I am in control. That message changes everything. Most people think confidence starts in the mind. It doesn't. It starts in posture, in breath, in pace. You don't need to dominate a room. You need to occupy it. There's a story told of a man who once entered a meeting with executives far more experienced than him. He said nothing at first. He didn't rush to prove himself. He took his seat slowly. He listened. When it was his turn to speak, he stood still. He didn't pace. He didn't wave his hands. He spoke, paused, and let silence do the heavy lifting. When he finished, no one interrupted. Not because he demanded respect, but because his presence commanded it. People don't follow words. They follow certainty. Rushing is the language of doubt. Stillness is the language of authority. When you speak, stop shifting your weight. Plant your feet like roots in the ground. Let your words rise from stability, not urgency. Say what needs to be said. Then stop. Silence is not empty. Silence is a frame. It tells people that mattered. And here's the hard part. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Slowing down exposes you. It removes the escape route. When you rush, you can hide. When you stand still, you must be. And that's exactly why it builds confidence so fast. Discomfort is not your enemy. Avoidance is. Every time you slow your walk, you reclaim a piece of self-respect. Every time you stand still while speaking, you reinforce self-belief. Every time you choose control over chaos, you train your nervous system to trust you. This isn't about acting confident. It's about becoming settled. And settled people don't need to chase attention. They attract it. The world is easy, fast, distracted. Most people are in a race they didn't choose, running toward goals they don't even understand. When you slow down, you separate yourself instantly. You signal depth in a shallow world. Confidence is not a performance, it's a pace. So the next time you enter a room, don't rush. The next time you speak, don't sway. The next time silence appears, don't fill it. Let stillness speak first. Because when your body learns that it doesn't need to flee, your mind learns that it doesn't need to fear. And when fear, most people spend their entire lives running from one thing, discomfort. They organize their days to avoid it. They build routines to escape it. And then they wonder why confidence never shows up. Here's the truth. Most don't want to hear. Fear doesn't disappear with time. It disappears with confrontation. Every ounce of confidence you admire in others was forged in moments they didn't want to face, moments where their hands shook, where their voice hesitated, where their mind screamed, don't do this, and they did it anyway. That's the difference. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward while fear is present. You see, the human mind is a careful accountant. It keeps records. Every time you avoid discomfort, it writes down danger, retreat. And every time you obey that signal, fear gains authority. It grows louder, stronger, more convincing. Soon, it's no longer a warning, it's a ruler. But the moment you do something uncomfortable on purpose, the record changes. The mind writes something new, I survived. And survival builds certainty. Most people wait until discomfort is forced upon them. A CR, ISIS, a loss, a deadline, a breaking point. But those who grow faster choose discomfort before life chooses it for them. They step into tension voluntarily. They stretch themselves daily. And because of that, life stops feeling so threatening.
Think about it. When was the last time you chose the hard thing without being pushed? The difficult conversation.
The honest admission. The action you've been postponing because it scares you. Avoidance feels safe, but it is slowly eroding your belief in yourself. Every day you avoid discomfort, you tell your spirit, I don't trust you to handle this. And every day you face it, you say, I am stronger than I think. That message changes a person. There was a time when courage was trained, not hoped for. People tested themselves intentionally. They understood something we've forgotten. Strength must be practiced or it fades. The muscles of confidence are no different. They grow only when resistance is applied. One uncomfortable act a day, not dramatic, not reckless, intentional. Speak when you'd normally stay silent. Show up when you'd rather hide. Start before you feel ready. And let me be clear, discomfort doesn't mean chaos. It means growth with tension. It means doing the thing that challenges your identity just enough to expand it. When you do this daily, fear stops feeling like a wall and starts feeling like a doorway. At first, it will argue with you. Loudly, it will present excuses dressed up as logic. It will say, not today. You're not prepared. Wait until tomorrow. But tomorrow is fear's favorite word. The courageous don't eliminate fear. They interrupt it. And something powerful happens when you interrupt fear consistently. You stop seeing it as a signal to retreat and start seeing it as a signal to grow. Discomfort becomes a compass. It points directly toward the next version of you. Confidence grows when you prove to yourself over and over that fear does not get the final vote. The person who avoids discomfort asks, what if this goes wrong? The person who chooses discomfort asks, what if this makes me stronger? And strength compounds. After a few days of choosing discomfort, you notice something subtle. Your posture changes. Your voice steadies. Decisions take less energy. Not because life got easier, but because you got sturdier. You begin to trust your ability to respond, not control. And that trust is confidence. The world doesn't reward comfort. It rewards courage disguised as consistency. Do not wait for confidence to arrive before you act. That day will never come. Confidence follows action like a shadow. Step forward and it appears. Stand still and it fades. So today, choose one thing that tightens your chest just a little. One thing that tests your resolve. One thing that reminds you that you are alive, capable, and growing. Do it deliberately. Do it calmly. Do it again tomorrow. Because when you face discomfort on purpose, fear loses its throne. When fear steps down, confidence doesn't need to be chased.